Okay. So if we ever have an injury to either an ankle, a knee, or a hip, or your back, doing some yoga in a chair, standing poses in a chair, can be very helpful. And it doesn't have to just be about that. So I remember years ago, I was at a Christmas party and someone asked me what I did for a living, and I said I was a yoga teacher, and they asked what kind of yoga. And at that point, I was a pretty traditional Iyengar teacher, and I said Iyengar yoga, and they said, "Oh, armchair yoga." And I started laughing. And there is this stigma that Iyengar yoga is very prop intensive, and of course, I'm not a traditional Iyengar teacher at all. But there is a good use of props, and a lot of times, if you sit on a chair, you might think, oh, I'm not doing very much. This isn't going to be very assertive in my body. I'm not going to get much exercise. And actually, I find that just the opposite happens, that sometimes when we do standing poses in a chair, you're actually working harder because you're giving different feedback into the body. So in particular, like I know Tom is recovering from a knee replacement, and I know Christine has had a knee replacement, and there's a couple of people in the class who have knee issues going on. And if that is the case for you, this is a wonderful way of practicing because it takes a lot of weight bearing off the knee joint so that you can really work into the depth of a pose. So if you are used to, always being only able to go this far in a standing pose because your knee bothers you, when you're on a chair, you can practice what it feels like to be able to go much deeper without the range of motion challenges that come from that. So so we're not going to use the chair the whole time, but it is going to be a part of our practice today. And I want you to think about ways in which you allow support in your life. So so you can sit on your chair now, or you can sit on the floor as we begin our practice. But think about, as you close your eyes, ways in which you either resist receiving support or welcome receiving support. Even just this, so you're like, oh, I'm going to sit in a chair for my practice. Like, is that what we're doing today? Notice if there's an immediate reaction to needing or wanting support. And I'm not just talking about the chair, I'm talking about life. So as you close your eyes, let's settle into our interdependence upon one another. Not dependence, not independence, but interdependence. And see if you can kind of settle into what that feels like as you close your eyes and open your heart. Who are the people in your life that you interdepend on? Do you have a relationship with someone that there's a give and take, that you give and you receive? And first, let's just have deep gratitude for those people in our lives. Such beautiful relationships, interdependent relationships are. And as you're sitting, let's also feel into the interdependence upon the earth. Can you allow yourself, whether you're in the chair or on the floor, to yield, to drop weight, especially if you're sitting on the chair? It's a great opportunity to have 2 feet planted. So notice the exchange with the floor below you, with the earth below the floor. Can you practice yielding? Can you give yourself over, and can you receive something from the earth? Give and receive. What does it feel like to feel the support below you, under your sit bones, if you're sitting on a chair, under your feet? How can you use this support to help you grow, to make your spine at ease in its length, to help you feel that there's ground below you so that you're safe to open? Feel your heart expand, your collarbones broaden, the breath deepen. Can you now feel the interdependence, not just on the earth, but on the energy, prana, that you are breathing in? Can you feel the give and take? What are you receiving? What are you offering? Can you feel that you are a conduit of energy exchange, that you are the energy exchange? You're not just a vessel to fill up and empty out, but that you are the energy. And as you're ready, let's place the palms together at your heart and take a moment to offer an intention around support, your ability to receive it, to offer it, gratitude for it. And let's release the hands. And if you're on your chair, just push it off to the side for a moment. We will use it in a moment, but for now, let's start how we always start. Come on to your back. Okay. All right. So go ahead and stretch. Reach your arms out overhead and lengthen the right side of your body and then the left side of your body, feeling that sense of awakening, opening yourself up for your practice. Maybe your hips are shifting. Maybe your breath is growing. Maybe you feel like squeezing your muscles or holding the breath. Follow your impulses and then bring your knees into your chest. Let's go ahead and rock around a little bit. So going left and right, swaying left and right. And then let's circle the knees a few times in one direction. And then circle the knees a few times in the other direction. And just allow a sense of softness to come into your back, your spine. Feel your breath moving through you. Right knee in, left leg long. Move around your ankles, roll around your feet. See if you can enjoy the consistency of how we warm up, the feeling when you go into these familiar movement patterns. Is it setting the tone, letting you become in your practice, setting apart this time from all the rest of what you're doing in the day? Left knee into the chest, right leg long on the floor, and let's swivel around your feet here. How's your breath? All right, bring both knees into the chest and allow your knees to come out and back in, kind of swinging out and back, finding that range of motion that's available naturally in your hip joints. And then find the outermost range. So bring your knees apart from each other in a place that's still comfortable where you're not tugging. It just is at the end point of your abduction range of motion. And flex your feet for a minute while you're here and stretch through the big toes, the inner heels, the balls of the pinky toes and the outer heels. Just find the action of your feet impacting your hips. So relax your feet and notice what happens in the hips. And then activate your feet. Just notice if there's a little more activity in the hip joints with feet active. And then bring the knees back into the chest. Let's starfish ourselves open. Spread out your limbs, reach into your hands and your feet, squeeze all your muscles. Give a good squeeze to your arms, your legs, your glutes, your belly, your face. And then bring your knees into your chest. Exhale and do the same thing. Breathe out all your air and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then a little more passive, a little more softer. Inhale, open yourself up. Exhale, curl into a ball. One more time. Feel the movement of your full body expanding open. Your full body coming into closure. Relax over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. All right, let's start moving through some cat-cows. All right, so finding the range of motion that works for you, arching and rounding the spine, taking your time, noticing how your body easily moves, maybe how your body doesn't easily move. What's in your range of motion today? How's your mind? Are you easily able to be in your body and in your practice, or is it hard to let go of the to-do list or whatever you're thinking about? After a couple of rounds of just flexion and extension, find your breath and start to move the body around
any way that feels good to you. What kind of movement is necessary for you to be free today? Is your neck, your shoulders? What's here? Okay, we're gonna sway. So I'll show you from this angle. We're gonna sway our hips off to the right. Drop your hips way over to the right. Look way left. And then come back, drop your hips off to the other side, and then go ahead and look over your foot. And come on back. Stretch back to child's pose. Take your hips back toward the heels. Find your breath again. Walk the hands over to the left side of your mat and open up the right rib cage. Feel a sense of space as you breathe here. The neck is soft and relaxed. And then come back to center, inch over the other way, finding your breath. Deep inhale, exhale. And then come back to center. Come up onto your hands and knees again. Let's warm up with a twist. Lift your arm up in the air, slide that arm under, finding the twist in the thoracic spine. See what you can do to feel the femur bones move back. Try not to let the hips do a lot of shifting around. The neck is soft, the breath is going deep into the thoracic spine. Feel the back ribs expand. All right, inhale, come back up. Reach that arm to the sky, place the hand down onto the ground, change sides. Arm up, arm bringing it through. Gaze toward the floor, find your breath. Inhaling, exhaling. All right, and then inhale, reach that arm all the way up to the sky. Place the hand down onto the ground. Dog pose. All right, so find what you're finding. Spread out the bones of your hands, root into the index finger mounds. Feel free to move around any way you want. You can pedal your feet, sway your hips, bend a knee, and swing it off to the side. Just see what feels really good in the body. Take the femur bones way back. Feel the length of your spine. Elongate as best as you can. Melt your eyes, melt your jaw. Start to have that opportunity of feeling yielding here. So give yourself over with your hands and your feet. Rebound through the body. How are your shoulder joints? How are your knee joints, your hip joints? Can you find a sense of stability and freedom simultaneously? All right, and then let's walk our feet forward. Come into Uttanasana. Bend your knees as much as you want. Feel free to wag your tail or roll around in your shoulders, wiggle around in your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. Then exhale and melt back down. Rise all the way up, push up your feet, lifting to the sky, reaching the arms up and open, cactus open your arms if it feels good. Exhale and round in. Chin toward chest, forearms together. Inhale, up you go, lean back a little bit. If the back bend feels nice in your body, sway yourself down toward the floor. Halfway lift, the spine grows. Exhale and melt back down. Step your left foot back, your right foot comes forward. Come to a lunge on this side. Find your blocks if you use blocks, and find some movement through your legs. All right, so extending, squaring the hips. Feel free to move in whatever plane your body goes. So if your leg goes all the way straight, that's fine. If your leg goes not anywhere near straight, that's fine. Keep the hips square and the breath moving. Enjoy the openness in the hip flexors. Enjoy the openness in the hamstrings. All right, let's come to a lunge. Find yourself, reach your arms back behind you and lengthen through your crown tail to your back heel. Is your back knee soft or hyperextended? Can you soften a little bit so that you can feel into the foot? Feel that rebound of the back foot pushing off to extend through your crown. When you're ready, rise up. Maybe your arms want to come to the sky. Maybe your arms don't want to come to the sky. So protect your joints, be kind to your shoulders. If you need a different range of motion, take it. If you need to put your back knee on the floor, take it. Find your breath. Hug into the midline, start to stabilize through your legs. All right, and then walk your back foot forward. Fold a little bit, bend to your knees, and then halfway lift, straighten your legs and your spine. Exhale and melt back down. Step your other foot back, coming into a lunge, left foot forward. Finding your breath. Stabilize, bring your hands on blocks if you need them, and let's start straightening and bending your leg. Square hips, tuck your chin. See what feels good as you lift your chest open and as you bow your head in. And just find whatever range of motion is working in your legs. Maybe you want to pick your toes up and stretch your calf a little bit more. Just find whatever it is that you like. All right, let's come into a lunge. Steady yourself. Reach the arms back behind you. Palms are facing the floor. Soften the back knee and push off your foot a little bit so that, notice the difference. Hyperextend your back knee and try to push off your foot. And just see where that rebound goes in your body. Now soften the knee a little bit and push off the toes and see where the rebound takes you. Find the breath. And then as you're ready, rise up. Hug into the midline with your legs. Reaching the arms wherever your body wants them to go. Ribs stay in. Integrate the center of your body. Feel the work of the legs. So the front leg, push your foot down. Let your hamstring and your glute work too, not just your quads. Deep breaths in. Exhale fully. All right, bring your hands down onto the ground. Step back to a plank. Hold steady here. Hug in toward the midline, shoulders away from the ears, finding the breath. Inner spiral of the thighs. Soften your knees a teeny bit here. So can you let your legs be straight without overstretching the back knees? And let's slowly lower to the floor. Come all the way down to the ground. Inhale, supported cobra pose. Don't feel like you have to go super high. Exhale on the way down. How's your back? Stabilize through your core and your legs. Find your way up. Find your way down. Let's try one more. Shoulders are back. Chest is broad. Exhale and release. Come back up onto all fours. Take a moment. Just see how your back's feeling. Swivel around. Move. Any kind of movement that feels nice. And then find your way to dog pose again. Second time around, notice what's here. Are you a little bit more open, a little bit more free? Inner spiral of the thighs, hug the hands toward each other, root into the index finger mounds. Feel the head relax. Deep breaths. Long exhales. All right, and then walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana. Fold a bit. Halfway lift. The spine grows. Exhale and melt. Push off your feet. Rise all the way up. Find your breath. Trace down through the center of the body. Let's stand here in Tadasana for a moment and just feel yourself yield into the earth. Give way to your feet, soften your knees. Let your breath go down, down, down in the body. Feel the roots. How is just warming up your body through yoga? How do you feel now versus when we began? Are you more in touch with your body? Are you present? Is your breath a little deeper? Is your mind a little slower? Okay, we're going to go ahead and grab your chair and put it on facing the long edge of your mat. Okay. I have two mats, so it's hard for you to tell. Okay, and we're going to just come to sit in the front, on the front edge of the chair. So if you came to class a couple minutes late, go grab yourself a dining room chair or a folding chair, whatever you have. So you have a hard chair. Now, depending on your height, You might need to put some blankets underneath you. You might even need to put blocks under your feet. So it really just depends on your height. So we're going to start with our sit bones right on the front edge of the chair. And we're just going to do a mini round of the cat-cow. So round the spine a little bit and then arch the back a little bit. And notice, when we sit in chairs, we tend to slouch a little bit. So notice that slouch of the rounded back tends to feel more natural than the coming up to a little bit of a arch in the back as you come to the front of the sit bones. And then settle into neutral. How do you find the lightness of the spine, the rootedness of the feet and the sit bones? Finding the breath. Okay, we're going to take your feet wide apart. As wide as, like goddess pose wide. Take your hands or your forearms on the inside edge of your knees and let's just stretch your inner thigh muscles, warm them up just a little bit. You can lean as far down as you want to go and you can use blocks if you want. You can put your hands on blocks. There's all sorts of ways of coming into this posture. I like to press into my inner knees just a little bit. And let's start activating the feet here. So root down through the 4 points of your feet. Big toes, pinky toes, mounds, and then the inner and outer heel. Feel the root to rise. What happens when you activate your feet? You have a little bit more invigoration through the pelvis. All right, and then come on up. Okay, so warrior two. If you've never done this before, a lot of you have done this with me before. So we're going to start with the front. You want your sit bone and your knee to line up in line with your ankle. So find the placement of your front leg. And then the back leg, we're going to put wherever we naturally go. And this shows a lot of, if you're always trying to square to the long edge of your mat in your standing poses, doing it on a chair will show you how nearly impossible that is for most people. So allow this back hip to turn as much as you need to so that your foot can be grounded and your knee can be soft and not hyperextended. You can also bring your whole back leg forward if you need to so that you can have that sense of stability. So you may be heel, or even wider than heel instead of heel arch aligned. Find the breath and see what you can do to stabilize yourself here. Bring your arms out to the side and look out over your right hand. Try not to lose the alignment of the knee and the sit bone and the heel on one plane. Let the back hip turn as much as you need to support that and not annoy your back knee. Push your feet into the floor like you're trying to pop up off the chair. And notice how this front knee, which is usually very weight-bearing in this posture, has maybe a little bit more ease. Remember, you can do anything you want with your arms. Try having a little bit of a spin of your foot. So the right toes turn right, the right heel goes left. It's just an isometric drag on the floor. Nothing's actually moving. Feel the deep work. So the piriformis work that we did last week or whenever that was, see if you can activate some of those muscles. Find your breath here. And we're going to come into a reverse warrior. So reach the arm up. Extend through the side of your body. Breathe deeply. And then back to Virabhadrasana 2. Gaze out over your fingers. Push the floor away. Okay, and then let's relax. So as you can see, if you work with the posture in this way, it's not easier. It's just different to do it on a chair. All right, let's just keep our knees together. Swing your knees left and right. Let your hips, this is a lot of work in your hips. So let them soften a little bit before we go to the other side. Adjust yourself. So you're on the front edge of your chair. Your heel, your knee, and your sit bone are all on one plane. The back leg accommodates whatever it needs to support that stability in the front leg. Notice if you need to turn the pelvis a little bit toward the front leg for ease. Do you need to move your foot forward a little bit? How is your back knee? Try not to have torsion in the back knee. You don't want to have like a twist happening in the back knee. So find a place that's comfortable, sustainable. Stretch your arms out to the side. Be on the very front edge of the chair. Push the floor away a bit. So you're trying to kind of get off the chair. Get that feeling. Spin the front foot. So toes go left, heel goes right. Find the deep work in that hip. Relax the shoulders. Remember, arms can be on any plane. So if you're protecting shoulders for whatever reason, you make a different choice. Pay close attention to the back leg. Do you need to inner spiral the thigh more? Can you take the femur bone back and soften the knee? Is your back foot able to fully ground? What adjustments do you need to make? Find the breath. Notice how free your front knee is. Without the weight bearing, you can stay deep here. Okay, come into a reverse. Reach the arm up to the sky. Find that side body. Stay integrated with your feet. Keep spinning that front foot. Open the breath. And then come back out to Virabhadrasana 2. Drop the shoulders. Push the floor away. Okay, and then go ahead and relax. Bring your knees back in. One more time, front edge of the chair. And if you're getting uncomfortable, put a blanket on the chair. It's not, you don't have to be on such a hard surface if you don't want to be. Okay. All right, we're going to come into Parsva Konasana. Grab a block if you want to. You don't have to. We're going to come into the same stance with our legs. Adjust your back leg for whatever you need. We're going to bring our hand onto the block on the outside edge of our calf. Often we do this pose with our elbow on our knee, but let's take advantage of the chair and put our hand on a block on the back side, on the outside of our calf. Extend the spine. See if you can feel, just like when we did in a lunge earlier, see if you can soften the knee to give effort into the floor, yield into the floor. And when you push off the earth, rebound that through your crown without locking the back knee. Keep track of the line of your sit bone, your front knee, and your heel on the same plane. Stretch the arm overhead when you're ready. Both shoulders come away from the ears. If your shoulder doesn't like being overhead, you could try taking it up in the air like this, out to the, out from the heart, or you can keep your hand down on your leg. So find what's working for you. Open the chest, that back femur bone settles into the back side of the joint. Have an inner spiral if you need it. Breathe deeply. Spin the foot on the front leg. Toes move right, heel moves left. There's a lot of deep work. Can you feel it? Can you feel all the deep work that's happening because we're not having to weight bear so much? Our quads and our knees get a bit of a break so we can focus on the deeper muscles. Okay, come on up. Come back. Windshield wiper your knees. This is I hope that you're feeling that it's a lot of work in your hips. It feels like a lot of work in my hips. Okay, and let's come to the second side. Front edge of the chair, adjust your feet. You want your heel, your knee, and your sit bone on the same plane. The back leg goes where it's comfortable. So if you need to turn the pelvis, turn the pelvis. If you can open it up to wherever your range of motion is, do that. If you feel like you can't get your full foot on the floor, try taking your back foot forward in front of you a little bit more so that your ankle may be weird. This might not be how you would stand in a standing pose because you're way deep. So you may not normally go this deep. So you have to adjust your legs to accommodate. Bring the hand onto the block on the outside edge of your calf. Feel the feet root into the floor. Maybe you'll see what it would feel like to not need the chair so much. So instead of leaning all your weight into the chair, lean your weight into your feet. Extend the spine, soften the back knee, push off the floor to rebound through your crown. Arm can go wherever arm wants to go. Shoulder blades slide down the back. How is your spine? Are you pushing your low back forward? See if you can stay neutral. Feel the feet, spin the front foot. Finding the breath. So are you noticing that your quads may be not as burning as they usually are? Your knees might be, your front knee might be a little less weight bearing, load bearing, but there should be a lot of work going on in the deep muscles in your pelvis. All right, let's go ahead and come on out of there. Okay, come back to center, swing the knees left and right. Okay, we're going to keep the feet together, the knees together, and just fold forward for a moment. Just let the hip flexors relax. You can wrap your arms behind or just let them dangle. whatever works best for your body. Finding the breath here. Okay, we're going to open up the hip flexors a little bit. We're going to turn to the side edge of our chair. We're going to take our right leg, so we're turning to the right side. Right leg is forward, left leg is back, and come into a lunge. So we're finding our way onto the chair, so our front thigh is on the chair. Square your hips and let that back leg lengthen. Maybe your knee needs to bend like this. Maybe a full length in your back leg is not possible. So find what's working for your back. See what it feels like to reach upward. Maybe your arms don't go here, maybe they go somewhere else. Push off the floor and extend through your spine. Square the hips, finding the breath. Notice if this is deeper than you normally might go. Notice the ease in your front knee. All right, and then let's go ahead and relax. Swivel around to the other side. So our left leg is now on the front edge of the chair. Your right leg is off, squaring the hips. Be very mindful then that you're not overarching the back. If you need to, bend the back knee so that you have some stability in the lumbar spine. Find your breath. Put your arms in a comfortable place, either up overhead or somewhere else. Integrate your core into your spine. Feel your feet. With that back foot, can you allow the knee to soften a little bit so that you can rebound instead of overstretching? Feel the earth give you something, give something back. Give to the earth and rebound. Give to the earth and rebound. Find the breath. Are you deeper than you sometimes normally go in your postures, or is it the same? What is different in your work here? And then let's relax and come back round to the front one more time, swiveling your knees. Okay. We're going to take our legs wide apart. First, come forward just like we did in the beginning, and just let your back stretch a little bit. You're right on the front edge of your sit bones on the chair. And then come up, goddess pose. So walk your feet. You can be, forward like this where your feet are kind of much more forward, or you can walk your feet back closer to the line of your pelvis. Just go where your range of motion says go. And then we're going to spin our feet. So our heels are going to drag forward and our toes are going to drag back. Notice if you have dominance. If one side's like, got this, the other side's like, wait a minute, wait for me. Just see what's happening for symmetry. Find the breath. Upright through your spine. Reach the arms into anywhere you want them to be. They can be up high, they can be out. You can have cactus arms, you can have a really cool mudra with your hands, whatever feels good to you. So even though we don't have to weight bear, our knees are not taking the burden of this pose. Feel the deep work of the hips. If we can strengthen these muscles, when we do the pose off the chair, our knees will have less weight upon them. Deep breaths. All right, and then go ahead and relax and bring your knees in one more time, just swaying from side to side. All right, cross your left thigh over your right thigh, like you're sitting cross-legged, and just lean forward. Just begin to let some of the hip muscles stretch a little bit, and then come back up. Cross over the other way, thigh over thigh, coming down wherever you go. So my hope is that if, what I would love for everybody to know is that your yoga practice is accessible to you no matter if you are 20, no matter if you're 5 years old or 105 years old, whether you have full working joints or you're missing limbs, or if you have new joints, or if you just have kind of bum joints. There's ways to accommodate everything. There's ways to accommodate everything. So no matter what's, troublesome in your body, yoga has a way to support it. It's just learning how to do that. Okay, so we're going to take a little twist. So I want you to turn to the side. So let's go right first. So turn to the right. So you're sitting on the side of your chair. Your your legs are off on the side of the chair. Your feet are planted. Everybody grab your block and stick it between your knees. So you can have it on the thin or middle height, whatever feels comfortable, right between your knees. And you want to make sure your knees are over your ankles and your spine is long. If you need support under your feet or underneath your sit bones for the angles, if you're really tall, you should probably be up on something. Find your breath, lift the spine. Feel your adductors hug that block just a little bit. You don't have to do it super tight. And we're going to turn to the back of the chair and grab on. Okay, so if you were in class, I think it was Monday when we did so many twists, and I was talking about how you don't want to push bone on bone to do the twisting. Same with this. You don't want to, we're going to pull with our left and push with, pull with our left and push with our right hand as we twist to the right. But don't let the effort of your arms overbear the pose. The spine is long, a slight anterior tilt to the pelvis, so neutral lumbar curve, and we're using our obliques and our breath to turn us. So the chair is just there for support, for a little hint of where we want to go. Gently hug the block so our knees stay on line with each other. Find the breath, drop the shoulders. The exhales take you into the twist. All right, and then come back around. Swing over to the other side. We're still hugging the block with our knees. Okay, so find where you need to be in your spine so that we're not slouching back or overarching forward. Just find a neutral spine. Feet are firmly planted, ground. Feel your yielding. Feel the rebound through your spine. Remember to keep your spine spacious and free. Bring your hands onto the chair. We're going to push with the left and pull with the right so gently. Don't overbear the pose with the strength of your arms. It's easy to do, and we don't want to go too far, and we certainly don't want to go without our breath. So let the exhales take you into the twist. The obliques are the working muscles here. Feel the hug of the block so you're stabilizing the pelvis. Stay neutral in the pelvis and keep the spine long. Finding the yielding feet, the breathing body. Drop the shoulder blades down. If you tend to push the low back forward, maybe round just a little bit. If you tend to overarch, maybe, just see where your neutral pelvis is. And then come back around again, okay? And let go of the block for a moment. Stretch your legs. We're on the front edge of the chair. Stretch your legs, and we're now going to put the block between our ankles. And I like it on the middle width, but you do you, whatever you feel like. Lift up through your spine, and we're just going to slightly bend forward. So we're not letting the back round. A neutral curve. Lift through your heart, flex your toes. All right, and then go ahead and come on out of there. Put the block back into your knees. We're gonna lift the knees up in the air. Feel the spine. So our feet, you can have your feet just a little bit off the floor or a lot of it off the floor. Hug the block, find your breath. Lean back just a little bit. Have your hands on the chair. Find your breath. Gently hug the block. And then put your feet back down onto the ground. Take the block out of there. One more time. Come into goddess pose. Open your legs up. Reach your arms to the sky. Find your breath here. We're going to just do ever so slight side bending. So you can either do one hand on and one hand up, or alternately you can interlace your hands like a sit-up kind of feeling behind your head and tip to one side. See what it feels like to stay stable in your legs. Keep spinning your feet, opening your knees, front edge of the sit bones, other side, either with one arm up. Are you still able to breathe, or interlacing the hands behind you? Are you breathing? Are you stable through your lower extremities? Feel your glutes work. There's a lot of work in this posture. come back up, reach the arms to the sky, and then last time we're gonna come forward and relax. Find your breath. We're almost done being on the chair. Okay, all right, come on up and bring your knees back in. Just sway your knees one more time, left and right. We're gonna put our right foot on the ground and pick our left foot up. So try to erase the wrinkles on your inner knee. So if you have your foot on your leg, your ankle is going to collapse. So try to stretch through the inner foot. So the big toe and the big toe side and the inner heel stretch away, and pull your pinky toe side of your foot back toward your knee. Lift your spine. You can either hold the chair or you can come forward, bringing your hands on your legs somewhere. Often I like to stick the heel of my hand right in the hip crease and gently press that down. You might want it on your knee. Just see where your body is. Be very gentle. Don't do a lot of weight bearing. You should be on the front edge of the chair so that there's a little anterior tilt of the pelvis. The sit bones can stay wide. Keep pulling your pinky toe side of your foot back up toward the knee as you stretch the big toe. Breathe deeply. Spine is growing. Deep stretch in the hip joint. I like to hold the back of the chair sometimes when I do this so that I am assured that my chest stays open. Whatever feels good to you. All right, we're going to come on up and we're going to turn this into a twist. So let's lift the left arm. It's our left knee that's up here. So our left arm lifts, and we're going to bring, there's a few choices here. You can turn your palm out and put your hand on your arch of your foot. You can keep your hand on your knee. You can keep your hand in the hip crease, wherever you want to go. We're going to stretch, lengthening forward and a little twist at the same time. Finding the breath both in and out. I mean, you might go so deep as to put your elbow there and your palms together and find a deep twist, chest moving toward the center of your thumbs. So you do you, that's deep. So be very mindful that you're going into depth only where your breath and stability takes you. All right, come on out of there. We're going to take your feet wide and just swing your knees, or you can keep them together, whatever feels good. And then we're going to repeat the other side. Okay, so if this is too much, if you're like, I can't even do this, this is too much, just lift the knee and hold the knee closer to your chest. You can even let the foot slide and come back to the thigh over thigh variation. So you decide how much rotation your hip can find. Stretch through the big toe and the inner heel. Pull back from the outer pinky, so the pinky toe side of the foot, that whole side of the foot, reach it up toward the outer knee. Feel the sit bones on the front of your chair tip into a little bit of an anterior tip of the pelvis. Lift the spine and come forward. Where do you want to put your hands? Do you want your hand in the hip crease? Do you want your hand on your knee? Do you want, where are you? Try not to. Okay, so knees are a weaker joint than hips. There's a lot more going on in your hip. There's a lot more ligaments, a lot more stability, muscles. So if you push on your knee to try to get your hip open and you're giving, your hip won't give it, then your knee is going to take that. So just be very mindful that you're not putting undue pressure on your knee trying to get your hip open. Okay, so the spine grows, the sit bones widen, a little curve in the lumbar spine. Breathe, stretch through your foot, pull back the pinky toe side. The most important thing you're doing is breathing. All right, and then let's come on up, and we're going to turn this pose into a twist. So you can go wherever your body wants to go. It could just be a little bit of a twist and lift your spine and come so that your sternum faces your foot now as you lean forward. Maybe you're going super deep and your elbows on the inside of your knee and your palms are together and you're turning your sternum toward your thumbs. So you do you. Don't get lured into depth. Find your breath, find your stability, find your freedom. The depth is what happens when you follow those trails. Finding the breath, finding the stability, finding the freedom. All right, let's go ahead and come on out of there. Legs are together, round forward one more time. We're about to come off the chair, so just have gratitude for the chair. Go ahead and move it off to the side. We might use it again for Shavasana, so don't fold it up and put it too far away. And find your way into dog pose. All right, so stretch and lengthen. Enjoy the openness in your hamstrings and your glutes. Breathe, stretch your feet. Inhale, lift your right leg up in the air and stack your hip over your hip. Just find the space. And then exhale and release that foot down onto the ground. Second side, lift that left leg up, stack the hip over, breathe into the belly. And then square the hips again. Bring that foot down onto the ground. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Find your breath. Stability here. Slow ourselves down safely, however that means to you. Back bend of your choice. Maybe you want to go into a deeper, fuller, full body back bend. Maybe you want to do cobra pose, up dog. Find what you're going to find. And then relax your head down onto the ground and windshield wiper your knees. We're going to roll over onto our right side, grab onto your left ankle. So a little hack to get there is to bring your left knee toward your chest, grab onto the front of the ankle, and then start lengthening the leg away. So stretching the quad, tailbone toward the knee, pubic bone toward the belly button. If you can't reach, you can always wrap a strap around your foot. Deep breath in and away. And then release, relax. Come back, swing over onto your left side, right knee into your chest, or the other side rather, and just go ahead and grab onto your ankle. And if you feel like you don't want to mess with balance, just bend your underleg, the leg on the ground, just bend your knee so that you have a little broader stance. Tailbone toward the knee, pubic bone toward the belly button. Stretch your knee away from the shoulder. Deep breaths here. And then relax. Let's go ahead and find our way. Child's pose to dog pose. Deep breaths in and out. And then walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Feel free to swivel and sway, any kind of movement that you want. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Push off your feet, rise all the way up to the sky, lean back a little bit if it feels good, and then we're going to slowly find our way to the floor. All right, so because that was a lot of deep work in the pelvis on the chair, we're just going to do a couple things to stabilize the SI joints. So first, bring your knees toward your chest. We're going to scoop the right palm around the right top shin below your knee. Take your left hand and put it right at the top of your knee at the bottom of your femur bone. So we're in opposition. The knees are hip width apart and they're going to stay in line with each other. So the knees are not going to move. We're going to push our right knee into our right hand and resist. And we're going to push our left knee into our left hand and resist. So we're trying to flex our left knee toward our chest, and we're trying to move our right knee away from our chest, but our hands are resisting, so nothing's moving. Just isometrics going in opposition. Make sure you're breathing. This is very good for your SI joints. Okay, and then relax. Now scoop the left hand underneath your knee to the top of your shin. Right palm is against the bottom of your femur bone right above your knee. The knees stay hip width apart and in line with each other. Push hands and knees into each other. So we're trying to flex the right knee, but the right hand's preventing it. We're trying to extend the left leg, but the left hand is preventing it. Knees stay in line with each other. Are you breathing? Okay, and then relax. Let's repeat that one more time. Left palm up on the femur bone above the knee. Right palm on the shin below the knee. Pushing hands and knees into each other. The knees stay the same. Nothing's moving. Find your breath. Try not to do this without breathing. And then relax. And one more time, the opposite side. Left palm scoops under the knee on the top of the left shin. Right palm right at the bottom of your right femur bone above your knee. Push hands and knees into each other. Do you have one side that feels more natural? Do you have one side that's like, yeah, I got that movement, that feels good, more than the other? So just pay attention to the ways, the patterns in which we move. All right, and then relax. Swing your knees around. You can circle them, however, whatever feels good. Let things relax. All right, you have a choice. We're going to come into a bridge pose. So actually, no choice. Let's just we're gonna do it twice. We'll do it actively and then passively. Put the block, there's always a choice. You can just not do it if you want. But put a block between your knees, okay? Or between your thighs. So wherever you're comfortable so that you can find your midline, you can use your adductors. We're gonna inhale and lift up into bridge pose, climb onto the tops of the shoulders and feel the posture. Feel the feet root. Big toe mounds, pinky toe mounds, inner outer heels. Everything's moving into the floor, yielding. Find the block. Breathe deeply. And then let's relax that. Take the block out of there. Now we're going to put the block underneath our sacrum. So not in your low back. And you can have the block on the lowest height or the middle height. I wouldn't go high right now. This is just to set the sacrum. So lower is really quite lovely. Okay, so you would choose. And just take some deep breaths here. Deep breaths in and out. All right, now you can choose to keep the block there or take it away. Whatever feels good to you. We're going to bring the knees into the chest. And maybe if you want to lift your legs straight up, you can. Kind of like leg up the wall without the wall. Maybe you want to take the block out and do happy baby pose. So explore what's going to make your pelvis feel very neutral and comfortable after all the work we've done. Finding the breath. All right, and then let's relax. Come out of there. Take your feet wide on the mat, and we're going to windshield wiper, but I want you to focus on the leg that's internally rotating. So as the knees go left, we're internally rotating the right leg. Just hang out there for a moment. Just feel the internal rotation. And then come back up and go to the right, left leg. Feel the internal rotation. Of course, if this is too much for your back, you can always put a block underneath your leg so you don't go very far. come back up. Okay. Bring your knees in, circle a few times, sway, whatever you want to do. And as we find Shavasana, you don't have to do this. You can totally lay flat on your back. But since you have the chair there, if you're desiring to have your legs up, you can take your shins up on your calves, up on the chair, and lay on your back for Shavasana. You don't have to do this. If you want to be flat, be flat. So just see what your body's calling for. Now, if we were in the yoga studio, I would be offering sandbags for everybody's low pelvis to kind of like root the femur bones and feel the pelvis relax. So if you are going to put your knees up on that chair, imagine that you have some weight on the pelvis. Not enough to alter your breathing, but just enough to ground you. So bring your arms, whatever you're doing with your legs, whether they're flat or supported, feel your limbs relax. Imagine you also, if your legs are on a chair, imagine you also have some weight on your shins. And if you can't relax, get your legs out of there and just go flat. So you decide what it is that you need for Shavasana and let your body melt. Deep inhales. Long exhales. How many layers can you peel away and drop into the earth?
Let's begin to deepen our breathing. Find yourself coming back into the space around you as your breath broadens and expands. Consciously melt your body one more time into the earth. Give way to the support below you. Invite support. Let's move and stretch and breathe. And see if you want to start with just little bits, your arms, your fingers, your toes, your wrists, your ankles, your arms, your legs. And as you're ready, find your way onto your side. Take your time on your side for a moment. Take a breath there. Feel the support below you again. And then lift yourself up when you're ready. Place your palms at your heart. Just have a moment to feel the support below you. Feel the supportive energy flowing through you on your breath. And offer this interrelationship, this interdependence. Offer your heart outward in this way. Who can you support? Who is supporting you? Just give yourself over. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.